let's talk briefly about independent events versus dependent events. Here I have a bag, and in this bag I'm going to put 2 yellow dice, 3 red dice, and 3 blue dice. Now, I can ask the question, what's the probability that I would pick out a red die and then a blue die with replacement? And what that means is I'm going to reach in, pick out one die, and then I'm going to take this die and put it back into the bag, and then reach in and pick out another die, right? So the question of whether I can pick out a red and then a blue die will always have a total outcomes of 8 because there are 8 dice in the bag. That would be an independent sequence of events. These events are independent because the probability of getting one color out doesn't change the probability of getting the next color out because I don't change the number of dice that are in the bag. Now, a dependent event or a pair of dependent events would be if I said, what's the probability of A or B given that I don't replace the die? So there are currently 8 dice in the bag, and I want to know what's the probability, let me shake this up a little bit, what's the probability of getting a red die and then a blue die? There are 8 dice in here, so the probability of getting a red die on the first pool is 3 red die out of 8 total die. So the probability will be 3/8 getting a red die. Now I put this die aside so that it's no longer in the bag, and then I ask the question, what's the probability of pulling a blue die? Now there are still 3 blue dice in here because I haven't taken one out yet, but the total number of dice has changed because there are now 7 dice since I already pulled out this red one. So the probability as I compound it would have to be that 3/8 of getting the red die in the first round and 3/7 of pulling the blue die in the second round. And that would be a dependent sequence of events.